I'm breaking free. Frontiers calm, there's no end in sight. Chasing dreams in the endless night. Vertical, I'm spinning in the black. Lost in space, but there's no turning back. Hear the engines roar, feel the stars ignite. In this endless fight, we rise tonight.
What we were going to talk about maybe next was Squadron 42.
Yeah.
And the big reveal, on Saturday night. So what was it like?
Yeah, people were really happy to see that, and you definitely saw some people gasping when they realized how big this kingship actually was.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole story seems to be quite exciting, and can already, I think, pinpoint that the Vandal that escaped will be the main antagonist of the story, most probably. So, depending on what else he has in store for us, I think there's still a score to settle.
Isn't that Andy Serkis that's playing that role?
Yes.
Who did Gollum, right?
Mm.
Fabulous. I mean, the acting was just... What can you say about Gary Oldman? I mean, he's one of the great actors in the world, I think.
All of them. They have a lot of... and when... I think Gillian Anderson, that was also... I mean, people already knew that she was in, but she's... Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I was a bit sad when she was killed off at the end, and then I was like, oh my god, what a waste. And then he saved her, so yeah. Good for him.
It's funny we didn't see Mark Hamill in this one, but he doesn't show up in the prologue. But
yeah, he was in the next ships when you finished your pilot's training.
Okay. I didn't see the ending.
Grumpy old man.
Perfect name. So, were there any specific gameplay or feature announcements? Obviously, the space station building is going to be incredible.
I already talked with Sintara that we could definitely have one space station just for training, and then maybe offer other organizations to just root it to pieces, and we constantly rebuild it. So
yeah, it looks like we're going to have our work cut out for us for sure.
I like the internal turrets. That was something a bit unexpected. Yeah, so there will be a lot to do, and you need a lot of people to do that.
Exactly. How do you see the corporation evolving as Star Citizen continues to develop?
Yeah, I think like every MMORPG clan, we will have certain territories that we want to stake our claim in, then probably having to defend them. The most important part for me is the culture. I just don't want people to feel too much pressure with all these new features, because this is easy when you have a lot of stuff to do and you feel the need. Okay, I have to grind now every day to do the progress. My goal is that people who have a life, I mean, it's not meant to be derogatory, but if you have a job, a family, and other things that you usually deem more important than gaming, then you shouldn't have the feeling of missing out. So part of the structure will be that the people who have the priority more on the gaming side, and there are thousands of these people, that these people carry to a degree also the more casual players and allow them to experience the content. And of course, there will be a structure that rewards people who are very active. And at the same time, I don't want others to get too many restrictions. So we will see if this is possible and how it turns out. But it's definitely that side of things.
Yeah, I remember the hardcore grind really can, the addictive nature of the MMORPG can really take you out of your life, and it's important for people to have their they're real life, and I love that about the corporation. That's a really great facet.
Yeah. Funny enough, we have some people who really want to get their careers aligned with Star Citizen so that they have enough time to play the game and
Yeah.
at the same time earn money, which is interesting. I mean, this shows that this game really has a huge psychological impact on the community, and yeah, it is something unique. And so much is for sure. There is no other game that I could think of that has so much potential and activates so much hope in people with all the right buttons.
I agree.
This,
Yeah, no,
this is the part.
it's very unusual game. As someone who leads one of the biggest organizations, what's your perspective on the game's development pace currently, and do you feel optimistic about the next 2 years?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there have been quite hard times, as we all remember, where the game was probably at the brink of trouble in some cases. But now with the amount of people that are now part of the community, I think it is too big to fail now. So I'm really optimistic. There's always each year, if you look back like 10 years in the past, each year there's one guy in some gaming news outlet that discovers Star Citizen for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, this is going to fail, and too many features, and this is insanity, and Chris Roberts is insane," and everything. At this point, it doesn't really matter anymore. The people everybody's entitled to his opinion, of course, and I will not talk down on these people because they lack the deeper information and perspective on the whole development process so far. And this is like 10 years of development, and we have some people in the community who followed every little piece of information that they put out, and I think there's no other game that is so transparent in what they're doing. And I was one of these people who, or still am, who really sucks in every part of info, and I have a good feeling, and that to me means that my gut in a way has been fed with good information. Otherwise I would have a bad gut feeling because I know a lot about the development at least what they let us know. I mean, there could always be the proverbial skeleton in the back that nobody knew about, but the stuff that we know about, and also these game journalists should know about, is quite positive.
Yeah, it's unique. I mean, the way the funding model is different. Usually with these AAA games, there's a publisher involved, and there's all kinds of pressure, and they make a lot of focus on getting it done within a certain amount of time. But Star Citizen is also creating new tech and new technologies that have never really been used in games before. So it does put it in a very unique position to break new ground, because I just think over the last 10 years games have really not made many strides technologically, and so this server meshing and everything else that comes along with Star Citizen could potentially open up a whole world of gaming that even outside Star Citizen that is not there right now.
Yes, to a degree, that's true, but at the same time, I'm very cautious when thinking about Star Engine, for example,
Yes.
because at the moment CIG is in the business of creating a crowd-funded game,
Yes.
and they are not from their upbringing, or at least from their external view, they are not a game engine company, even though it may be like that because they were creating a game engine or developing, improving on one.
Right.
But to be in that market and be successful, I think there's still a lot of work to do, because you have established game engines, which Unreal 5, for example, is a pretty big thing. And so
It's massive,
we will have to see how they fare on that market. But I think they are well well aware of that and really focus on marketing and building Star Citizen right now. And the other thing is more like a byproduct, which is not really the focus of the marketing. At least this is my feeling. I mean, they had this presentation, I think it was last year, where they showed Star Engine off, like, look, guys, what we did, and if you're interested, come to talk, you know. So I think that presentation was really for maybe for investors or people who are interested in this whole engine business. So yeah, but anyway, I mean, it doesn't matter that much, because I think Star Citizen, as I said, is too big to fail now, so that will definitely happen. And the Star Engine marketing is a bonus, and if they make money with that, fantastic. Then that will also pay out.
How do you keep the community motivated and engaged, especially during periods when the game updates the updates are slower?
Yeah, that brings us back to the question in the beginning. I think
Yeah.
it is, to a degree, it is something that you cannot really influence that much, because most of the activity usually stems from what CIG does. When, as you say, if there is a patch that isn't working, you know, then people are frustrated, and then some people may be frustrated to an extent that they say, "Oh, I'm out of here for the next 6 months. I will be
Yeah.
back once they fix that."
Mm.
And that is something no amount of engagement in the community can change that, and it is good like that, because I want people to not feel obligated to be active in the corporation. I would love them to be active in the corporation, because this is also something that smaller organizations usually struggle from. If you have already few people who are active, and then those few people start becoming inactive, then the rest, they, yeah, become bored, and then they also leave, even though they are the may have been the hardcore. And so this was also one of the benefits that you have with a large organization, that you do have a fluctuation of people, but at the same time, you always have an active user base that can use voice chats, exchange information. And so the Corp Discord has become a real information hub to a degree,
It has.
where people, if you find something online which is interesting for the others, you post it. And yeah, I also find sometimes info on our server which I haven't seen anywhere else. Best example was I think Dark Neon and Jay Rico, who posted pictures of the Manchester office, which was a secret tour that nobody else got, and that was fantastic. You saw these models that they have there, and again, this is what Chris Roberts is really good at, creating this immersive feeling even at the workplace. And that was fantastic, and you don't find that anywhere else. And if I find a YouTube video today, for example, because I'm German, I understand German videos, obviously. And so what I did was I posted a video of someone who also had an interview, I think, with Benoit, and then I posted a translation under it, so that people can read that and yeah, enjoy the content, even though they otherwise may have missed it because it was in a different language. And you have so many different people from different countries in the corp, that allows us also to aggregate these info
Yes.
things. Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody looking to start their own organization in Star Citizen?
Oh yeah, that's a whole another 2-hour talk. It's not that easy.
Not so easy.
Especially, I mean, this is something, a little piece of info that many people may not be aware. These large organizations that you see when you go through the org list, all of them have become that big because they invited people all the time. You know, that is the only way you grow that big. And I recall that there was a time when I think it was Explore found an exploit on the back end of the, or if you call it an exploit, but they basically had access to the back end of the CIG page, and so they invited 100,000 people at the same time.
Oh my.
And yeah,
Oh,
and
boy.
it was just a game of percentages. So not everybody accepts that, of course, but then all of a sudden they became like extremely big, like 20, no, not 20, but 12,000 members or something.
Yeah.
And then CIG, of course, fixed that, I think, with the help of Test Squadron, who was a
Okay.
bit annoyed because of that. So yeah, this is also a little meta thing, but this is also what people have to keep in mind, that the big organizations usually have their own tools and their own thing going. There's fantastic bots and websites. I talked with MedRunners recently. They created a whole website for their medical services, and that is also something that you cannot just do if you start a new organization. I mean, this grows organically with the members you have. If you
Yes.
have a member who's a programmer or full stack developer and he comes to you and says, "Hey, we could do this," then yeah, it's fantastic. Just talk with him how to make these things. These people are usually super fans and are excited to do this. At the same time, you need to have a bit of a degree of a security feeling, that you don't trust anyone, because there are some people who would exploit that. But this is why I said this is a 2-hour talk. There's so much stuff to be aware of. But in the early stages, don't be afraid to invite people.
Yes.
Go into the game, check who's online, talk with people online, and then just invite them. Write them a little text like, "Hey, I saw you online. I would love you to join me. I saw that you're alone." Many people, especially after this talk now, I think will be very inclined to join an organization. And so, yeah, just do that for starters. And then, of course, you have to go through the valley of pain in a way, because as long as the organization hasn't reached a certain threshold, you will always have people leaving, or you invited someone who's really a drama person, that constantly causes trouble. And so you have to also be decisive enough in a way to keep the right people, but let the people go who are trouble. And this is also something I learned over the years. Stay respectful.
Yes.
If someone is completely insane, stay respectful. Explain to them why they are probably not the right fit. Then at least you've done everything you could, to make that clear to that person. But in some cases, there's no use. They will still be angry. But yeah, you can't change that.
I admire how you keep your cool right through everything. It's just such an important thing when you're dealing with people. It's a great thing. Associations. I mean, you talk about the med runners. Are we going to develop associations with other orgs to try to kind of develop these relationships? And of course, I think I would encourage people to join the corporation.
Yeah.
Please don't hesitate to jump on board with us. We'd love to have you.
One interesting thing that came out of the social talk during the weekend was that it is now an option to really join different organizations and switch between organizations. I still haven't, I'm not sure how this will be facilitated, but I could imagine that when you feel like, okay, today I want to do more military work, or maybe even the Metrunner thing, then you switch to an organization that is aligned with that guild and represent them while doing the missions. So you get a bonus in your reputation gain. So this is a really interesting system, which I think will facilitate people. What we now already have, the affiliation system, I think it's called affiliation. And there are some organizations who say, okay, you have to be exclusive with us. So that means that people really have to spend most of their time with one guild, at least. That doesn't mean that they have to constantly do this game loop that this organization demands. But the way CIG seems to envision it, if it changes, I don't know, maybe they will change it again. But the way I understood it is that an organization really has to dial down on one route. And obviously the corporation will probably dial down in the realm of base building, space stations, resources, becoming rich.
Yes.
Really important, because to me it is always, if you have the in-game means, then anything else you can buy. So this is where the game loop starts. But there are other people, and that is completely valid too, who say, well, I will just steal everything. I really dial down in the council direction, for example. And then I have a really hardcore team of people who are undefeated and
Mm.
can just infiltrate and destroy everything and steal everything that we like. This is also a valid game loop, you know, and they will also probably have a lot of money. Or you have the mercenaries who then work together maybe with the resource-heavy organizations and get paid by these for protection.
Mhm.
This is also an option. My goal, of course, in the corporation, because we have so many people, is that we will facilitate all these game loops. That you will basically hopefully don't have to switch because we can offer everything, but at the same time, our miners and the grinding belly, so to speak, of the corporation, that will be the people who sustain everything and allow the more militaristic players to gain access to certain facilities, certain ships, you know, and so that, you know, is at least the vision I have at the moment, but we will have to wait a bit longer until we get the information.
Yes, that's great. I mean, people like Dopey, I see all the time. You know, he works so hard at teaching people how to mine, how to do a lot of these game loops. It's just, you know, there are people in the corporation that are so invaluable that it's just inspiring sometimes.
Yeah, and I want to add, because this is probably also a bit unclear to many people, the guilds that the organizations align with
Hmm.
will just offer bonus experience, as far as I
Ah,
saw so far. So that means
okay.
it becomes easier to progress in your own guild affiliation with that guild, because there is an individual guild affiliation that you work towards, and you can do that with any of the guilds, even if you're in the let's say you are a miner in the corporation and you just want to get a certain maybe blueprint or a certain t-shirt or something. I don't know
Hmm.
what the rewards will be, but there may be some rewards for certain guilds, and then you grind, of course, towards this by doing certain missions for that guild. You will still be able to do that, and
Hmm.
I see the end game in a way that many people will have a very broad character sheet, so to speak,
Yes.
because the affiliation with your different guilds that you personally are aligned with will grow over time based on how you spend most of your time. And if you are someone who enjoys military work, I think in the corporation there will be a lot of work to do that you can help with.
Do you have any memorable or funny moments from your time leading the corporation?
Ah, a lot. I mean, there are so many different things that happened over the years. It's more than 10 years now.
It's a lot.
So, yeah, obviously there's a lot of things. And yeah, I mean, there's always certain members which are insane. So this is also quite funny, but
What does Steve like to say? Shenanigans. There's a lot of shenanigans
yeah,
going on.
what was that? Get the backpack back. That's his thing. So these things, of course, I mean, Steve is always, if you haven't experienced him, join a voice chat when he's in. This is always an experience all
It
by
is.
itself. I think he should stream because he's perfect in just commenting everything that happens all the time, which is a rare skill. So
I'm trying to get him there. I'd love it. I think he's got the gift of gab for sure.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. But there's also some sad things, of course, that happened, and we had
Mm.
people, because the game is in development now for a decade.
Hmm.
We had people we started with who are deceased now. That happened, and usually you don't hear about these things because these people just don't log in anymore. But in some cases, because friendships form and people who live close by keep in touch, and then yeah, when you hear, okay, he was pretty old already. I mean, yeah, that is sad. And in Berlin, we had one guy who was he was a real artist. He painted some of the pictures or the screenshots that CIG released and made oil paintings out of it.
Really?
And yeah, and that was fantastic. He
Wow.
brought them to the bar citizens, and then everybody could admire them. And I think during one CitizenCon, he even gifted one away for a charity event.
Yeah.
So that was really, really fantastic and such a nice person, but he was really, yeah, he was already very, very old.
Hmm.
And yeah, at some point, then his wife told us that he is no longer with us. And yeah, that is also part of Star Citizen. And I think many organizations have different stories to tell. You have in-game funerals in a way that people also did. There was a video once from one organization which was really nicely done with a lot of light sticks and I think 20 people saluting. And yeah, this definitely shows that this is also more than just a casual game to people.
Yes, well, we saw it, didn't we? All those years ago with World of Warcraft. There are relationships that are built that really go way beyond the game too. So, and I see that here, in our org and too.
Yeah, and I always tell people, be kind to each other. Most of the time when there's some drama happening, and this goes back to what new org leaders should also be aware of. Most of the time, these are misunderstandings because people,
Yeah.
if stuff happens in voice chat, then you have people who are a bit misaligned, don't read the room correctly, and instead of blasting at them like shut off, you just explain it to them, and usually, I mean, they're all really nice people.
Yep.
They understand that, and then they realize, oh yeah, this is a new community. Before that, I was playing Fortnite or whatever, I don't know. And there's a different vibe in these communities, and
Mhm.
I think Star Citizen, in my opinion at least, already has a higher maturity rate because of the Wing Commander fan base
Mhm.
that swarmed into the game. But at the same time, you of course have different gaming communities, different Discord servers with different types of people. And in my opinion, there's always a specific Discord for everyone. So if you are a bit more, let's say, aggressive or a bit more rough, make certain jokes that other people may find not so nice, then there is definitely a community for
Yes,
you,
of course.
where this is better accepted. But usually people align to the group and they understand that, okay, while I'm playing here for that reason, and that this is also part of the community that I want to build, because my image is that I want to have a place where I come after work and just relax. No fighting or these things, but just playing with friends and enjoying the game
Exactly.
and having nice stuff. Not the gruesome pictures of people getting beheaded or stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is insane. That some people think that belongs there.
Mhm.
So this is part of the culture, and I think many organizations have to a degree the same culture, and that aligns quite well.
What are the corporation's goals for the next year, knowing now where things are going with Star Citizen?
Next year we will be in Pyro all the time, I guess.
Looks like by Christmas we probably have it, huh?
Yeah. I know that many people are already quite excited about that. Funny enough, we already had Pyro for a while. We could test it,
Yep.
and then they took it away. And now I hope that they managed to iron out most of the bugs and also included some content as well, because it was underneath it was quite barren in the first iteration. But I think they used that year quite well, and we will definitely have some stuff to see.
Finally, what do you want your legacy to be within the Star Citizen community?
Space stations everywhere.
That's going to be epic. We're going to have quite a few of them, I'm sure. They say you're going to have massive resources, even for one.
Yeah, it will take a while. I think from what we saw in the video, that could be weeks or months even, I don't know.
Mhm.
So that will be interesting. And once it's there, I hope they will not be easily destroyed, because that would be a pity, then at some
Mhm.
point people would just say, oh, that doesn't really compute anymore. I just do other stuff, and then I think CIG is quite aware of these things, and so they will
That's good.
find a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if people are going to put in that amount of time and resources to build something like that, they don't want to just see it taken away so easily. So,
Yeah.
well, Weyland, it's really been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time and for being so forthcoming with us. And I hope the people enjoyed this, and I hope you come back again.
Yep, and it was a pleasure. See you in game.
Okay, all the best. Now, please, everybody, like and subscribe and share this video. We appreciate you giving us your time, and we will see you in the next one.